A woman was taken from her home in the middle of the night. Her boyfriend said masked men broke in, restrained them, and planned the abduction. At first, police treated it as a real and organized crime. Then the story started to break apart. Investigators shifted focus from the attackers to the people inside the house. The case was labeled a hoax before any suspect was found, but the victim was still missing. Days later, she reappeared with details that matched a real crime. What followed exposed not just the offender, but a mistake that changed the entire case.
In 2015, in Vallejo, California, a couple woke up to lights and voices inside their home. The man later said the intruders were already in control before he fully understood what was happening. He described goggles, recorded voices, and precise instructions coming from the dark. Both were restrained quickly, separated, and told not to move or speak. Nothing about it felt chaotic, it felt planned. The voices sounded controlled, almost rehearsed, not like a rushed break-in. Denise was taken from the house, while he remained restrained and unable to follow. The attackers left without noise, without damage, and without leaving anything obvious behind. When police arrived, the scene did not match the level of control he described. From the first moment, the story sounded real, but the evidence did not. He told investigators the intruders used pre-recorded messages to give instructions. They warned him not to move, controlling the situation without constant presence. He described multiple attackers, but could not visually confirm how many there were. The house showed no forced entry, no struggle, and no clear path of access. His behavior after the incident added to the confusion. He appeared calm at times, delayed at others. Investigators expected panic, but his responses felt measured and controlled. The level of detail in his account sounded structured, almost too precise. Every element he described seemed possible, but not together. Instead of confirming a crime, his story began raising questions. Within hours, the investigation shifted from abduction to suspicion. Police began testing his story against physical reality, and the gaps became harder to ignore. There were no signs of forced entry, no evidence of multiple attackers, and no external confirmation. The more they analyzed it, the more the story felt constructed rather than observed. Public pressure increased, and investigators moved quickly to define the narrative. The case was described as a hoax before Denise was even found. Attention shifted away from finding her and toward disproving the story. The boyfriend was treated as a suspect, not a victim. But Denise was still missing, and there was no explanation for where she was. Then, just as the case began to collapse, she reappeared, and her account matched the story that had already been dismissed. Then the case shifted again when Denise reappeared alive. She was found safe, but her account matched a real and detailed abduction. She described restraint, movement between locations, and controlled communication from the attacker. Her timeline aligned with the period she had been missing. This directly contradicted the hoax narrative already presented publicly. Investigators now faced two conflicting realities. Either the story was fabricated or the case had been misjudged. Details she provided included elements not publicly known at the time. This forced police to reevaluate earlier conclusions under new evidence. The investigation shifted back toward identifying a real offender. What had been dismissed as false now required full reconsideration. With the case reopened, investigators shifted away from the hoax theory and began re-examining similar incidents. A prior home invasion in the same region showed nearly identical methods: night entry, restraints, and recorded instructions. This time, the offender had acted alone, but created the illusion of multiple attackers. That detail corrected a major assumption. The original case had never involved multiple intruders. Investigators connected the earlier incident to a single suspect with a history of controlled, planned offenses. His behavior matched Denise's account, including staging, use of fear, and structured movement. This shifted the investigation from confusion to a focused direction with one individual. Evidence from the earlier case provided a clearer pattern than the Vallejo scene alone. The case now had a link: same method, same control, same offender. What had been dismissed as impossible was now explained by a single, calculated approach. With the suspect identified, investigators reconstructed what actually happened that night. Matthew Muller had acted alone, but used recordings, lighting, and controlled instructions to simulate multiple attackers. This explained why the boyfriend described more than one person. The illusion was part of the method. Denise was taken from the home and transported to a separate location near South Lake Tahoe. She was held under controlled conditions, restrained, and monitored over a period of time. Muller used pre-recorded messages and staged communication to maintain control without constant presence. After several hours, he released her, allowing her to reappear safely but under confusion. This directly contradicted the hoax theory and confirmed the original account was accurate. The boyfriend's statements, once questioned, were now supported by the reconstructed method. What had appeared inconsistent was now explained as a carefully designed illusion by a single offender. With the reconstruction complete, investigators moved to arrest Matthew Muller. Searches of his residence revealed items consistent with the method used in the abduction. Digital evidence, recordings, and prior incidents confirmed this was not an isolated crime. He had previously attempted similar intrusions, showing a repeated behavioral pattern. The motive was not personal. It was driven by control, fantasy, and psychological domination. Muller designed the crime to create fear, confusion, and complete control over the victim. The staged complexity was intentional, allowing him to manipulate both victims and investigators. This explained why the case initially appeared impossible and was misjudged as a hoax. He later admitted involvement, confirming the accuracy of Denise's account. The case was resolved with conviction, exposing both the offender's method and the failure that delayed the truth.